Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is set to introduce many different revelations that will lead to saga-wide implications in this story by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film is going to really take a lot of risks, as well as involving a lot of different twists and turns that will lead to a lot of changes of the past 8 Star Wars movies in a satisfying way by not just Abrams and Chris Terrio, but also creator George Lucas. Now, on top of all of this, a lot of fans are very much interested in the connections to the prequels and the originals, and how that's all going to be utilized in this story. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to various concept art descriptions of Episode 9, this is where things begin to get very intriguing for Episode 9 itself. Now, specifically, a description of Kylo Ren inside of his chambers, where it's explained that he is meditating through the ways of the Force, where it's explained that Kylo Ren is on his knees, where many ancient Sith relics can be seen in the background, where it's described that eventually Kylo Ren begins to hear an older version of Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost voice. It said that this happens while Kylo Ren is holding a relic that he stole from Luke Skywalker's Jedi training temple just before he turned to the dark side of the Force, which was the holocron of Anakin Skywalker that allows Kylo Ren to tap into the thoughts of Anakin Skywalker that Luke had once kept hidden away. It said that this allows Kylo to connect with Anakin's Force Ghost. However, it's explained that the Force Ghost voice is planned to make Anakin sound as if he is 70 plus years old. The next describes a sequence in which he lets go of the holocron and begins to hear the voice of Palpatine's Sith Wraith, reaching out to Kylo Ren and masking himself as the Sith Wraith of Darth Vader. This is all described to continue at a later time in the third act, where Kylo wields the Skywalker saber and begins to hear the older version of Anakin as he fights Palpatine. It said that this is JJ's plan to insert the family element of the Skywalkers in a significant way to the mix. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, we do know that Episode 9 is really going to be a film that's going to focus on family in this movie to a different extent here. We do know that Episode 9 is a very important film, not just for Disney and Lucasfilm, but also for the characters that will be presented in The Rise of Skywalker, right? Now, with The Rise of Skywalker and its title, we do know that there are over 3 different meanings to the Episode 9 title itself, which is very intriguing. It makes one very curious as to exactly what all those different meanings are really going to be in Episode 9. So, I want to go over the holocron of Anakin Skywalker. Very interesting stuff. Now, we heard a lot of talks that this would be introduced in the Clone Wars Season 7, which will be actually introduced in early 2020 on Disney+, which is where we're going to learn a lot more about Anakin and Obi-Wan, etc. So, the thing that really gets me is, of course, how Kylo Ren is said to be training through the ways of the Force itself, not necessarily the dark side, but just the Force alone, whereas he holds the Anakin Skywalker holocron, he begins to hear the Force Ghost voice of Anakin himself, that is said to be an older version of Anakin as if he is 70 plus years old, where once he lets go of the holocron, this is where he begins to hear the voice of Palpatine's Sith Wraith, that is making believe to be the Darth Vader Sith Wraith. Now, this alludes to when, of course, Kylo Ren is talking to the Darth Vader melted helmet in The Force Awakens, and it really does give us a different view or a different perspective on that scene in Episode 7 by JJ, and it seems as though that JJ Abrams really wants to expand that entire, aspect of the sequel trilogy of Kylo Ren talking to a relic. Now, what I like so much about this is that this is Kylo Ren training through the ways of the Force. We, to this very day in the Skywalker saga, have never seen a dark side user necessarily training through the ways of the dark side or training through the ways of the Force in a very specific way as this. And I think that what they're really trying to do here is that Disney and Lucasfilm, we do know that they have a plan in order to make holocrons very much familiar with not just hardcore fans, but also casual and new fans alike around the entire world. So this all eventually progresses to the third act of Episode 9, where eventually Kylo Ren uses the family Skywalker saber against Palpatine, and as he does this, he begins to hear the older version of Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost voice reaching out to him, telling him the Jedi code, and as well as the code of the first Skywalker. So what I like so much about this is that it's really giving us a better sense of Kylo Ren's connection to Anakin in The Rise of Skywalker and how it's all really going to progress from start to finish of this movie and all the different artifacts that are connected to Anakin that will be explored in Episode 9. I think it's very intriguing that Luke Skywalker, the son of Anakin, held on to this holocron that once belonged to his father for so very long, only for it to be stolen by his nephew and brought on board of Kylo Ren's First Order Ravager ship, which, by the way, also holds a super weapon called the First Order Annihilator. So I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.